I found out my wife was cheating on me while elbow deep in a 1967 Mustang's carburetor. Not the romantic discovery you see in movies. No lipstick on a collar, no suspicious texts. Just my 19-year-old daughter, Cass, standing in the doorway of my garage, phone pressed to her ear, saying words that stopped my heart cold. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Mom says Dad's too boring and old-fashioned. She deserves excitement, you know? I mean, Eli takes her to actual clubs and nice restaurants. He's not just some loser with a wrench. I stood there, grease up to my elbows, and thought, at least she didn't call me a plumber. Haven Falls, Massachusetts, population 12,000, give or take whoever died or left this week, is the kind of town where everyone knows your business before you do. Old brick factories line the river, half of them empty, the other half converted into overpriced lofts for people who think industrial chic means something. Main Street's got 3 diners, 2 bars, and 1 coffee shop that charges $7 for what they call a artisanal latte. The Lakeside District, where the rich folks built summer homes in the 80s, sits mostly empty now, except for the occasional party house rental. I'm Jack Morrison, 43 years old, owner of Morrison's Classic Car Restoration. I built this business from nothing, started in my parents' garage 20 years ago. Now I've got a real shop, 3 employees, and a reputation for quality work that brings customers from Boston. My hands are permanently stained with engine grease, my back aches every morning, and apparently I'm too boring for my wife. Julia Morrison, Julia Caldwell before she married me, is an architect. Successful, beautiful, 10 years of marriage, 1 daughter. She came from old New England money, the kind of family that has portraits in the Historical Society and a wing of the library named after them. I came from the kind of family that fixed their cars. I didn't confront Cass that night. I finished the Mustang, locked up the garage, and drove home to our modest colonial on Elm Street. Julia was already asleep, or pretending to be. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, watching her breathe, and wondered how long I'd been invisible. The next morning, I started paying attention. Julia left for work at 7:30, kissing my cheek with the mechanical precision of a woman fulfilling a contract obligation. "Don't forget, we have the Hendersons' party Saturday," she said, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. "Wouldn't miss it," I said, and she didn't catch the sarcasm. After she left, I did something I'd never done before. I went through her purse, found a hotel keycard from the Lakeside Inn, receipt dated 3 days ago, found a jewelry box containing diamond earrings I'd never seen her wear, found a burner phone with exactly 3 contacts, E, T, and work. I took pictures of everything with my phone, put it all back exactly as I'd found it, and went to work. My sister Ruth runs the garage with me. She's 2 years older, twice as tough, and the only person in my life who's never lied to me. When I told her what I'd found, she didn't waste time on sympathy. "So what are you going to do?" she asked, wiping down a workbench. "I don't know yet." "Jack, you can't just—" I said I don't know yet. But I was already planning. That afternoon, I drove to Mick's boxing gym. Mick Donnelly, ex-cop, 52 years old, runs the place like a church for men who need to hit something. I've been coming here twice a week for 5 years, ever since I realized that small-town success doesn't mean you stop feeling like the poor kid who doesn't belong. "You look like hell," Mick said, holding the heavy bag while I pounded it. "Julia's cheating on me." "You sure?" "Yeah." "You gonna divorce her?" "Maybe. First, I'm going to find out who, when, and how long." Mick grunted. "Revenge is a sucker's game, Jack." Good thing I'm feeling like a sucker. That night, I followed Julia. She told me she had a late meeting with a client. Instead, she drove to the Lakeside District, to one of those party houses that gets rented out for weekends. I parked down the road, watched her go inside. 20 minutes later, a silver Tesla pulled up. The driver was young, maybe 35, wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly mortgage. I didn't need to see more. I knew who he was. Eli Bradford, junior partner at Julia's architectural firm. Rich family, Harvard degree, the kind of guy who uses summer as a verb. I sat in my truck for an hour, watching the house, feeling something cold and hard settle in my chest. Then I got out, walked to the Tesla, and keyed a long, deep scratch down the driver's side. I left a note under the wiper. "Nice try, but you're not even the best she's had." Then I went home, set up the dash cam from my work truck on Julia's car, and waited. The next morning, Haven Falls' Facebook page exploded. Someone had posted pictures of Eli's keyed Tesla. The comments were predictable small-town gossip. Speculation about jealous girlfriends, business rivals, random vandalism. Eli posted a $500 reward for information. I smiled and said nothing. 2 days later, my dashcam caught exactly what I needed. Julia and Eli in her car, in the parking lot of the Lakeside Inn, doing things that would make a divorce lawyer salivate. I downloaded the footage, made 3 backup copies, and sent an anonymous clip to Eli's phone with a simple message. Your wife might want to see this. That evening, Julia came home shaking. Someone's harassing Eli, she said. Someone keyed his car, and now someone sent him a threatening video. That's terrible, I said, not looking up from my dinner. Did he call the police? He can't. The video, it's complicated. Complicated how? She looked at me, and for a moment I saw fear in her eyes. Just complicated. I nodded, took another bite of meatloaf, and thought, you have no idea what complicated is about to become. Julia's coldness turned to open contempt over the next 2 weeks, but I played the role of oblivious husband perfectly. I fixed cars, went to the gym, showed up to the Hendersons' party with a smile and a bottle of wine. I was the invisible man, and even ghosts can throw punches. The Hendersons live in one of those renovated factory lofts, exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that looks uncomfortable because it is. Julia worked on the renovation, so we were obligated to attend their housewarming party. 50 people crammed into 1,500 square feet, drinking craft beer and pretending to care about architectural details. Eli was there, of course. He stood by the windows with a group of Julia's colleagues, gesturing with a wine glass, talking too loud. When he saw me, his smile faltered for just a second. I walked right up to him. Eli Bradford, right? I'm Jack, Julia's husband. He recovered quickly, extending his hand. Of course. Julia talks about you all the time. Funny, she never mentions you. I shook his hand, held it a second too long, squeezed a little too hard. You drive a Tesla, don't you? Silver one? I heard about the vandalism. Terrible thing. His face went pale. Yeah, it was unfortunate. You should be more careful where you park. You never know who's watching. I walked away before he could respond, found Julia in the kitchen, and kissed her cheek. Great party, I said. I'm going to step outside for some air. She barely looked at me. Fine. Outside, I found Ruth smoking a cigarette by the building's loading dock. You're playing with fire, she said. I'm just getting started. Jack, seriously, what's your endgame here? I don't have one yet. I'm improvising. That's what scares me. The following week, Mixed Gym hosted a charity boxing event. Local amateurs, 3-round matches, money going to the youth center. I'd signed up months ago before everything fell apart. Julia said she'd come watch, bring some friends. I didn't expect her to actually show up, but she did, with Eli in tow. He wanted to support you, she said, the lie so transparent it was almost funny. My opponent was a kid from the college, 22 years old, all muscle and no technique. I should have gone easy on him. Instead, I pictured Eli's face and came out swinging. Dropped the kid in the first round with a combination that left him dazed and confused. After the ref counted him out, I helped him up, made sure he was okay, then turned to the crowd and locked eyes with Eli. He was sitting next to Julia, looking uncomfortable in his designer jeans and polo shirt. I pointed at him, mouthed the words, "You're next," and watched him squirm. Julia was furious on the drive home. What the hell was that display? What display? You know what I'm talking about, pointing at Eli like some kind of thug. I was just acknowledging a fan. You were being aggressive and inappropriate. I pulled into our driveway, turned off the engine, looked at her. You know what's inappropriate, Julia? Screwing your coworker while your husband works 60-hour weeks to keep this family afloat. The silence in the car was absolute. I don't know what you're... Don't, I said. Don't insult me by lying. I know about Eli. I know about the hotel. I know everything. She stared at me, calculating. If you know, why haven't you said anything? Because I'm deciding what to do about it. There's nothing to do. I want a divorce. Of course you do. But you're not getting one on your terms. I got out of the car, went inside, and locked myself in the spare bedroom. Through the door, I heard her making phone calls, to Eli, to her best friend Tracy, to her lawyer. I didn't care. I was already 3 steps ahead. The next morning, Cass posted a TikTok that went viral in Haven Falls. POV. Your dad's a toxic, controlling loser. Your mom's finally happy, and you're stuck in the middle of their drama. The video showed pictures of me looking angry, pictures of Julia looking radiant, set to some pop song about female empowerment. Within hours, I was the villain of Haven Falls. The comments section was brutal. People I'd known for years, calling me abusive, controlling. A typical man who can't handle a strong woman. Nobody knew the full story, but everyone had an opinion. Ruth called me. Have you seen Cass's TikTok? Yeah. Jack, this is getting out of control. No, it's getting interesting. What does that mean? It means I'm done being the nice guy. I hung up, opened my laptop, and started working. If they wanted a villain, I'd give them a villain. I spent 3 days gathering information. Julia's architectural firm, Caldwell and Associates, was prestigious but struggling. I found public records showing they'd lost 2 major contracts in the past year. I found reviews from former clients complaining about missed deadlines and cost overruns. I found Julia's LinkedIn profile, where she'd inflated her credentials, claimed to have led projects she'd only assisted on, listed awards she'd never won. I created an anonymous email account and sent everything to the firm's senior partners with a simple subject line, due diligence. Then I turned my attention to Eli. Rich boy, Harvard grad, but his professional record was thin. He'd bounced between 3 firms in 5 years, never staying long enough to build a real portfolio. I dug deeper, found his social media, found pictures of him at parties, at clubs, always with a drink in his hand, always with his arm around someone's shoulder. I found his wife, Melissa Bradford, née Melissa Chen, 32 years old, pediatric nurse, married to Eli for 3 years. Her Instagram was full of couple photos, vacation shots, inspirational quotes about love and commitment. The most recent photo was from 2 weeks ago, Eli and Melissa at a charity gala, smiling for the camera. I sent her a link to the dashcam footage with a message. I'm sorry you have to find out this way. 2 hours later, Eli's phone started blowing up. I know because I was parked outside his condo, watching him through his living room window, watching him pace and yell and throw things, watching his perfect life fall apart. The next day, I called him. Eli, it's Jack Morrison. We need to talk. You son of a... Meet me at my garage. 1 hour. Come alone. He showed up in a different car, a rental, looking like he hadn't slept. I was waiting in the garage bay, alone, tools spread out on the workbench. You ruined my life, he said. No, you ruined your life. I just documented it. My wife is filing for divorce. The firm is investigating me. Julia won't return my calls. What do you want? I want you to understand something. You thought you could take what was mine without consequences. You thought you were smarter, richer, better than me. You were wrong. I'm sorry, okay? It was a mistake. It's over. You're right. It's over. But we're not done yet. I hit the button that closed the garage bay door. Eli's eyes went wide. What are you doing? Relax. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to teach you a lesson. I took out my phone, called Melissa Bradford. She answered on the second ring. Hello? Mrs. Bradford, this is Jack Morrison. Your husband is here with me. Would you like to talk to him? I put the phone on speaker. Melissa's voice was cold, sharp. Eli, you're with that man? Melissa, I can explain. You've explained enough. My lawyer will be in touch. She hung up. Eli looked like he might cry. Now, I said, you're going to walk out of here, get in your rental car, and drive away. You're going to stay away from my wife, my daughter, and my town. If I see you again, the next video I release won't be anonymous. It'll be on every social media platform, every news site, everywhere. Do you understand? He nodded, broken. I opened the garage door. Oh, one more thing. I walked to his rental car, pulled out a tube of superglue, and squeezed it into all 4 door locks. Then I opened the trunk, found a bag of shrimp I'd bought that morning, and stuffed them deep into the tailpipe. Have a nice drive home, I said. He stood there, staring at his car, then at me, then back at his car. Finally, he called an Uber and left without another word. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt. Just cold, calculated purpose. That evening, Ruth came to the garage. I heard what you did to Eli. News travels fast. Jack, people are scared of you now. Good. That's not good. You're becoming the person they think you are. Maybe I always was this person. Maybe I was just pretending to be nice. She shook her head. I don't believe that. Believe what you want. I'm not done yet. The next day, I discovered something interesting. Tracy Winters, Julia's best friend, had been coming around the garage a lot lately, asking questions about the business, about finances, about me. I'd thought she was just being nosy. But Ruth found her going through our file cabinets after hours, photographing documents. Why would Tracy care about our finances? Ruth asked. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. I called Tracy, asked her to meet me for coffee. She agreed, probably thinking she could manipulate me the way she'd been manipulating Julia. We met at the overpriced coffee shop on Main Street. She ordered a $7 latte. I ordered black coffee. Jack, I'm so glad you called, she said. I've been worried about you. Have you? Of course. This situation with Julia must be devastating. It's been educational. She leaned forward, touched my hand. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Actually, I do need to talk to you about something. Why were you going through my business files? Her smile faltered. I don't know what you mean. Ruth caught you, on camera. We have security cameras, Tracy. She pulled her hand back. Julia asked me to check on some things. What things? Financial things. She's worried about the divorce settlement. The divorce hasn't been filed yet. Well, she's planning ahead. I leaned back, studied her face. She was lying, but not about Julia. There was something else, something deeper. How long have you hated me, Tracy? I don't hate you. Yes, you do. I can see it. The question is why. She stood up. This conversation is over. Sit down. Something in my voice made her hesitate. She sat. 5 years ago, I said, I fired someone from the garage, a woman who was stealing from us, selling parts on the side, pocketing the money. I never pressed charges, just let her go quietly. That was you, wasn't it? Before you reinvented yourself as a boutique consultant, you were Tracy Mitchell, my parts manager. Her face went white. You've been planning this for 5 years. You got close to Julia, poisoned her against me, pushed her toward Eli. This whole thing, it's your revenge. You ruined my life, she whispered. No, you ruined your life by stealing. I just held you accountable. You had no right. I had every right, and now I'm going to hold you accountable again. I stood up, dropped a 20 on the table, and walked out. The Haven Falls Regatta is the social event of the summer. Sailboat races on the lake, vendors on the shore, everyone who's anyone showing up to be seen. Julia's firm always sponsors a boat, and this year was no different. She'd be there, Tracy would be there, probably even Eli would show up despite everything. I had other plans. Ruth's son, Danny, is 24 and works in IT. For $200 and a case of beer, he hacked Tracy's cloud storage. What we found was explosive. Emails between Tracy and Eli, going back 8 months, discussing how to handle the Jack problem. Text messages between Tracy and Julia, Tracy feeding her lines about deserving better, about me holding her back, and most damning, voice messages from Tracy to both of them. Let's ruin him. I want Julia to myself. Eli's just a tool to get there. Tracy wasn't just orchestrating revenge. She was obsessed with Julia, had been for years, and saw me as the only obstacle to getting what she wanted. The regatta started at noon. I showed up at 2 when the races were in full swing and the crowd was at its peak. I'd rented the sound system under a fake name, told the organizers I was with the sponsor. Nobody questioned it. At 2:30, I took the microphone. Good afternoon, Haven Falls. I'm Jack Morrison, and I have a story to tell you. The crowd went quiet. I saw Julia in the VIP section, her face going pale, saw Tracy near the vendor tents starting to move toward me, saw Eli at the bar, frozen with a drink halfway to his mouth. For the past 2 months, I've been the villain of this town. The controlling husband, the toxic man, the loser who couldn't keep his wife happy. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because the truth is so much more interesting. I pressed play on my phone. Tracy's voice boomed through the speakers. Let's ruin him. I want Julia to myself. Eli's just a tool to get there. The crowd gasped. I played another clip. Tracy and Eli discussing how to push Julia toward divorce, how to make me look bad, how to isolate me from friends and family. Tracy Winters, I said, pointing at her, orchestrated this entire thing, not because she cared about Julia's happiness, but because she's been obsessed with her for years. And Eli Bradford was just stupid enough to go along with it. Tracy was running now, pushing through the crowd toward the parking lot. I let her go. The damage was done. Julia stood up in the VIP section. Jack, stop this. Why? You wanted the truth out there. Here it is. You weren't seduced, Julia. You were manipulated by someone you trusted. Eli tried to leave, but several men from the crowd blocked his path. Someone shouted, "Let him explain!" Others took up the chant. I wasn't done. And here's the kicker, folks. That DNA test Cass has been bragging about on TikTok, the one that proves what a terrible father I am. I had my own test done. Turns out Eli isn't just my wife's lover. He's my daughter's biological father. The crowd erupted. Julia screamed. Cass, standing near her mother, looked like she might faint. I dropped the microphone, walked through the stunned crowd to the parking lot. Eli's new Porsche, apparently Melissa's divorce settlement hadn't kicked in yet, was parked in a handicapped spot. I backed my garage's tow truck up to it, hooked the chains, and lifted the front end off the ground. Eli came running. "What are you doing? That's my car." "Sue me," I said, and drove away with his Porsche dangling behind me. Nobody tried to stop me. Half the crowd was filming, the other half was too shocked to move. I drove straight to the town dump, unhooked the Porsche, and left it there among the garbage and seagulls. Then I went home, packed a bag, and drove to Mick's gym. "You really did it," Mick said. "Yeah." "Feel better?" "No, but I feel finished." "What now?" "Now I disappear for a while. Let the dust settle. Let them tear each other apart." "And then?" "And then I rebuild. Different town, maybe, different life. But this time, I'll know better." Mick nodded. "You need a place to stay?" "I've got a cabin rented up by the lake. Different lake, different town. I'll be fine." I wasn't fine, but I would be. 3 weeks later, Julia's firm fired her. The investigation into her inflated credentials, combined with the public scandal, made her toxic. Eli lost his job too, and his divorce cost him everything. Tracy became a pariah. Her consulting business dried up, her friends abandoned her, and last I heard, she'd moved to Florida to start over. Cass stopped speaking to everyone. She dropped out of college, deleted all her social media, and moved in with her grandmother in Vermont. The DNA revelation destroyed her, and I felt guilty about that. But she'd chosen her side, weaponized her platform against me, and sometimes collateral damage is unavoidable. The town's opinion of me shifted. Some people thought I was a hero, exposing the rot beneath Haven Falls' polite surface. Others thought I was a monster, taking revenge too far. I didn't care about either opinion. I'd stopped caring what anyone thought. But I wasn't done. There was one more thing I needed to do. The Haven Falls Community Center hosts a charity gala every September. Black tie, silent auction, all the town's elite pretending to care about local causes. Julia's firm had always been a major sponsor, and this year, despite everything, they were still hosting a table. Julia would be there, trying to salvage her reputation, trying to show the town she was a victim, not a villain. I bought a ticket under a fake name, wore a rented tux, and walked in like I owned the place. The room went silent when people recognized me. Julia, standing by the silent auction tables, looked like she'd seen a ghost. Tracy wasn't there. She'd already fled town. Eli wasn't there either. He'd moved back to Boston, tail between his legs. I walked straight to the stage, where the organizers were preparing for the evening's speeches. "Excuse me," I said to the woman holding the microphone. "I'd like to say a few words." "Sir, you're not on the program." "I'm Jack Morrison. I think people want to hear what I have to say." She looked at the crowd, saw the anticipation on their faces, and handed me the microphone. I stood at the podium, looked out at 200 faces, and smiled. "Good evening, Haven Falls. I'm sure you're all surprised to see me here. I'm surprised, too. Surprised that after everything that's happened, people still pretend to care about community and charity and doing the right thing." Julia started moving toward the exit. I kept talking. "My wife, Julia Morrison, is in this room. She's probably trying to leave right now, but I hope she'll stay, because I have something to give her." I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket. "Julia, could you come up here, please?" She stopped at the door, turned, looked at me with pure hatred. "Come on, Julia. One last public moment. You used to love those." She walked to the stage slowly, every eye in the room on her. When she reached me, I handed her the envelope. "What is this?" she asked quietly. "Open it." She opened it. Inside were the keys to our house and the title to her car, signed over to her. Also, a check for $50,000, half of everything I had. "I'm giving you the divorce you wanted," I said into the microphone. "On your terms, the house, the car, half my savings. I'm keeping the garage and my self-respect. That's the deal." Julia stared at the contents of the envelope, then at me. "Why?" "Because I'm done fighting. You won, Julia. You destroyed our marriage, alienated our daughter, and turned this town against me. Congratulations. I hope it was worth it." I took the microphone off its stand, walked to the edge of the stage, and addressed the crowd one last time. "Here's what I learned, folks. Revenge is easy. Any idiot can key a car or send an anonymous email. But real revenge, the kind that actually matters, is letting go. It's refusing to let the people who hurt you define who you are. It's walking away with your head high and building something better." I set the microphone down, walked off the stage, and headed for the exit. Julia called after me. "Jack, wait." I stopped, turned. "I'm sorry," she said. "For everything. I was confused, and Tracy manipulated me, and I made terrible choices. But I never meant to hurt you this badly." "Yes, you did," I said. "You meant every bit of it. You just didn't expect consequences. Can we talk? Really talk, without the anger and the games?" There's nothing left to talk about. You'll get the divorce papers next week. Sign them, move on, and stay out of my life. What about Cass? What about her? She's your daughter. No, she's Eli's daughter. The DNA test proved that. You lied to me for 19 years, Julia. You let me raise another man's child, and you never said a word. That's unforgivable. Tears ran down her face. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know until recently. Eli and we had a thing in college before I met you. I thought it was over. When I got pregnant, I assumed. You assumed wrong, and now we all have to live with that. I walked out of the community center, got in my truck, and drove away from Haven Falls for the last time. 3 months later, I reopened Morrison's classic car restoration in a small town in Vermont, 2 hours from Haven Falls. Ruth came with me, and we hired 2 new mechanics. Business is good, the town is quiet, nobody knows my story, and I like it that way. I heard through the grapevine that Julia moved to Portland, started over as a junior architect at a small firm. Cass is talking to her again, but not to me. Eli is working at his father's company, divorced and diminished. Tracy disappeared completely. Sometimes late at night, I think about everything that happened. I think about the man I became, cold, calculating, ruthless. I think about whether it was worth it, whether revenge ever really satisfies. The answer is no. Revenge doesn't heal anything. It doesn't make you whole. But it does teach you something important, that you're stronger than you think, that you can survive betrayal, and that sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to let the people who hurt you win. I'm 44 now, single, starting over. My hands are still stained with grease, my back still aches every morning, but I'm free. Free from lies, free from manipulation, free from people who saw me as less than I am. They wanted a villain. I gave them a show, and then I walked away, king of ashes, leaving them to clean up the mess they made. That's the real reckoning. Not the revenge, not the public humiliation, but the simple act of choosing yourself, choosing peace, and letting the past burn behind you. And I'm Jack Morrison, and I'm done being anyone's victim. The end. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching,